What is this? Who put this here? Scooter, did you do this? Magic crystal ball knows all. All right, I'll give it a whack. What's the capital of Kentucky? You gotta rub it, you big dummy. All right, let's try one a little bit harder. What's 567 times 8,448? All right. Who is the greatest YouTuber ever? Fair. Okay, who's the strongest YouTuber of all? Who's the tallest gun tuber on YouTube? Okay. Of all the gun tubers, who is the best shot? Well, he's retired, but okay. Who's the greatest gun builder on YouTube? Okay, now for the big one. Who is the best gun tuber? Fair, but retired. So try again. Who is the best gun tuber? For one, I do not agree, but also he is retired as well. So let's go one more time. Who is the best gun tuber? Yeah, right. Okay. Who's the greatest gun tuber that lives in Kentucky then? Whatever, man. This is bogus. What's up, everybody? My name is Scott, and you're watching Kentucky Ballistics, and today we have a very interesting target. This is a solid, giant crystal ball. This thing is 10 inches in diameter, and it is extremely dense, and I'm very curious to see what happens today when it gets smacked with a 2,150 grain bullet. Fun fact about this thing, you have to be very careful when you're carrying it on a sunny day because it has a little bit of a magnification effect. Observe. Oh. As you can see, if you get a little too close to this thing, it will light you on fire. So you have to be really careful where you set this thing and what you set behind it on a sunny day. Don't ask me how I know that. Anyways, let's go get set up and get started. We're going to start out with a small caliber and then work our way all the way up to the 4-bore. But before we get started, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. Like any great organization, Morgan & Morgan wasn't built in a boardroom. It was built out of injustice. After founder John Morgan's brother suffered a catastrophic injury as a teenager, his case was mishandled, leaving their family feeling like the system was rigged against people without money or power. So John Morgan set out to build something different. For more than 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people, protecting the defenseless against powerful interests with compassion, transparency, and no upfront fees. Today, they're America's largest injury law firm with over 1,000 lawyers, 100 offices nationwide, and more than $30 billion recovered for their clients. Hiring Morgan & Morgan is like hiring an army to go into battle. If you're injured because of someone else's negligence, you deserve to be paid because not all law firms are the same. There's a reason you don't hire a plumber to fix your car, and there's a reason you don't hire the wrong law firm to represent you. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan, and remember, their fee is free unless they win. For more information, you can go to forthepeople.com/Kentucky Ballistics, or you can use my link in the description down below. Again, a big thank you to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it. We're going to start out with a 22 pistol. This is a Ruger Mark IV suppressed, and I'll be loaded up with one round of 22 long rifle. That is a 40 grain round. Not really sure what's going to happen when we hit this thing today, so we are scooted back pretty far. Here we go. Let's go check that out. Okay, so the ball did not shatter that first shot. We have a hit right there. Looks like that round just kind of ricocheted off the ball. Today should be pretty interesting. Up next, we're gonna step it up to 9mm, and I'm very excited about that because I get to shoot my new fancy pistol. This is a SIG P211 GTO, and this thing is stinking sweet. I mean, look at that. It's got more bells and whistles than your bike did when you were 5 years old. I am loaded up with a 9mm, 147 grain hollow point. Here we go. Let's go check that out. All right, this is pretty cool. We've got a pretty wicked design on this thing now where that 9mm hit it, but it did not make it very far into the crystal ball. So, I'm very curious to know what's gonna happen when we hit this thing with something a little more powerful. Up next is gonna be 45 ACP, and we have a super duper long slide 1911 chambered in the Lord's caliber 45 ACP. This thing has a 16-inch barrel, and I'll be loaded up with a 230 grain 45 ACP. See if I can hit it. Here we go. Oh! Had a little bit of extra velocity on that one. Oh, how about that? Looks like the super duper long slide 45 ACP was hitting a little low, but you know why that is? That's because those 45 bullets are so big, packing so much power, I didn't account for the drop it has that far back. We're gonna move on. Up next, we're gonna step it up to the best millimeter, 10mm. And again, I have a very long gun. This is a super long slide Glock 20, and I'm loaded up with a 180 grain 10mm. Ah, here we go. Okay, we had a good hit with the 10mm. I'm actually kind of glad that we missed with the 45 because it probably would have exploded upon impact and the video would have been over. But the 10mm, it did a little bit of damage, kind of extended our beautiful piece of artwork we have here. But now we're gonna step it up to something a little bit bigger, and that is 44 mag. Loaded up with a 300 grain 44 mag. Here we go. I'm not really sure what happened. So it looks like we had a good hit with the 44 Magnum, but I was a little high and it just ricocheted off the top of this thing and hit the berm. Let's step it up to something a little bit bigger than 44 mag. Up next, we're gonna step it up to 50 AE. This is a Magnum Research Desert Eagle, and I'm loaded up with one round of 300 grain 50 AE. All right, here we go. You want to hear something funny? This right here ejected off the top and kissed me right in the lips, and for just a second, I thought I was going to be missing a tooth. Wow. Okay, we did quite a bit of damage to this crystal ball. If I turn it, you can see that we really haven't penetrated much, but we are doing a lot of external damage. I mean, this is no longer a clear crystal ball. Let's see what happens when we keep stepping it up. I have a feeling it's going to be very hard to actually penetrate this thing, but at some point, I do believe we may get it to shatter. Up next, we're going to hit this thing with 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum. This is a Smith & Wesson Performance Center chambered in 460 Magnum, and it is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? And I'm going to be loaded up with an Underwood ammo, 460 Magnum, 300 grain round. All right, let's see if I can hit it. Okay, that was pretty impressive. I really like this thing. Okay, we did quite a number on that thing. There's actually a bullet right here. Let's see if it's hot. It's not that hot, so I'm not really sure what that is. It's definitely not the 460. That may be the 50. Ooh, wait a second. That looks like 45 ACP. Pretty sure it is, because it went right underneath the crystal ball. We got a big old piece of this to break off, and this is what we are left with. It's pretty awesome. Now I know what you're thinking. Scott, you keep destroying this thing, and by the time you get to 4-bore, there's gonna be nothing left to shoot. It's the whole reason I clicked on the video. Well, don't worry. You're watching Kentucky Ballistics. This is the best gun channel on YouTube. I prepared for this. Now, let's move on to the next caliber. See what we can do. Up next, we're gonna step it up to my favorite pistol caliber, the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. This is a Magnum Research BFR in 500 Magnum with an 18-inch barrel, and I'll be loaded up with a 500 Magnum 350 grain round. All right, see if we can hit it. We are really putting a hurting on this ball. Look at that. This whole thing is busted up now. Wow. That actually looks pretty cool if you ask me. I do not know how many shots this has left in it, so I'm just going to keep going as normal. And once this thing finally breaks, we'll move on to the 4-bore. Pretty obvious where we hit with the 500 Magnum. That is stinking awesome. Well, that was it for pistols. We're gonna step it up to a shotgun next, but not just any shotgun. My favorite flavor of shotgun is 10 gauge, and this is one of the most ridiculous 10 gauges I have. This is a Marlin Super Goose 10 gauge shotgun. And I'm gonna be loaded up with 1 round 10 gauge. See if I can get this out of here. And these are 10 gauge 1 3/4 ounce slugs. All right, here we go. Okay, not much left of that. Okay, let's take a look at our results. Looks like we busted up what was left of that ball, and I'm kind of sad, you know, because it's the only one I had. I'm just kidding. Okay, I got one more. I had some other rifles that I wanted to use today, but it looks like we already busted up our first ball. So I say we go ahead and move on to 4-bore, smack this thing, and if there's anything left, we'll hit it with some bonus guns. It is time for the grand finale. We have our giant new crystal ball set up, and we have the Christian Firearms Falling Block single shot 4-bore rifle. 1 inch in diameter, 20 pounds, and producing over 200 pounds of felt recoil. And we're about to smack this thing with a Mack truck. This is the 4-bore round. That is a 2,150 grain flat point. And this thing is going to be producing over 10,000 foot-pounds of energy. All right. Here we go. It's time to ride the lightning. Oh! We only got one shot. Oh! I have not shot this in a while. That pushed me back pretty hard. I am going to say that the 4-bore did not disappoint, and it never does. Let's take a look at this ball. It is way over here, and it is just filled with fractures and cracks all through it. And it is somehow busted on the back side, which is very confusing because obviously we hit on this side. You can see the giant lead mark from that 4-bore round hit, and then energy just kind of pulsed through this thing, and I guess so much that it blew its back out. I think the other piece to this is over here on the... Shut up, GoPro. I think the other piece to this is over here on the berm. Here is the other piece that shot out the back, which is a little confusing because if you asked me if a bullet hit that, I would think that a bullet hit that. It looks like it has a center impact right here, but that's not the case. The slow-mo clearly shows the back of this thing just shooting off. So the 4-bore hit this thing so hard that it delivered energy through it, creating all these fractures, and then literally broke a piece of it off and shot it off the crystal ball like another projectile. May have to have the slow-mo guys come out later this year and redo this video. Looks like we do have enough crystal ball left for at least one more shot with a rifle. I have wrote on this wheel of fortune here all of the calibers that we have left. As you see here, we have 5.56, we have 4.16 Rigby, 4.16 Rigby, 4.16 Rigby, 5.56, some more 4.16 Rigby's, 30-06 and 7.62 by 39. And we're going to spin the wheel and see which rifle we're going to finish off this crystal ball with. And while it's spinning, if you want to get your start in firearms technology, be sure and check out SDI. There's a link in the description down below. Looks like we're going to hit it with the 4.16 Rigby. How about that? What are the odds? So the rifle I have is a Seiko 85 XL chambered in 4.16 Rigby, aka 4.16 Honey Badger, because it don't care. This is a 350 grain round, and I imagine that what's left of that crystal ball is going to end up in the stratosphere. Okay, here we go. Yep, I'd say that'll do it. Well, just as I hypothesized, that thing absolutely detonated, and I do believe that some of it probably made it to the stratosphere. That went everywhere. I was actually pretty impressed with how tough these things were today. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and give it a like, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future awesome content. My table is stuck in the ground pretty deep, so I think I'm gonna have to pull it out. Don't forget, if you want to pick up a nifty Kentucky Ballistics t-shirt, just click the link in the description down below, take you over to KentuckyBallistics.com. And as always, my name is Scott. Thank you so much for watching Kentucky Ballistics. I'll see you next time.